Am I the asshole for making my husband's family leave after they showed up with an extra guest?
Hell no. Don't show my you out no.
Okay. My husband and I recently hosted a small intimate dinner at our home for his family. We carefully planned everything, seating arrangements, food, and even table settings, since it was meant to be a cozy evening with just close family. We invited 8 people: his parents, siblings, and one cousin. I took extra care with the menu because I have some severe food allergies to nuts and shellfish. I cooked everything myself to avoid cross contamination, and my husband helped plan the dishes accordingly. Since it was a sit down dinner with a pre planned meal, it wasn't the type of gathering where you could just add another plate last minute. An hour before dinner, my mother in law had texted me. She was saying that she was bringing my husband's aunt, her sister, because, quote unquote, she was in town and had nowhere else to go. I was immediately uncomfortable. This aunt has mocked my allergies before, saying she doesn't, quote unquote, believe in all that nonsense, and even once tried to convince me to just take a bite of a dish that contained nuts because she thought that I was being exaggerating. I texted my mother in law back politely, but also firmly, saying, I'm so sorry, but we don't have extra seating or enough food planned for another guest. I do hope you understand. She didn't respond. Instead, she showed up at my house with the aunt anyway. When I opened the door and saw her standing there, I felt a pit in my stomach. My mother in law was all smiles, acting like nothing was wrong, and said, It's just one more person, we'll squeeze her in. I reminded her that we didn't have enough food, and more importantly, that I didn't feel comfortable having someone who has disrespected my food allergies at my dinner table. My husband's aunt laughed and said, Oh, don't worry, I won't poison you, in a sarcastic tone. She then turned to my husband and said, Is she always this uptight? At that moment, something inside me snapped. This wasn't about the extra guest anymore. It was about the complete disrespect for my boundaries and my health. I turned to my mother in law and I said, I told you we didn't have room for another person, and yet you still showed up with her. I don't appreciate being ignored in my own home. If you can't respect that, then you are welcomed to leave. Silence. Then my mother in law's face turned red and she said, Are you seriously kicking us out over one extra plate? This is beyond rude. My husband's siblings jumped in, calling me dramatic and ungracious, saying that I could have made something extra or just dealt with it. But I stood my ground. I told them that I wasn't okay with my boundaries being ignored and that if they couldn't accept that, then they could also leave. At that point, my mother in law scoffed, grabbed her purse, and stormed out. The rest of the family followed.